Welcome to this week's Movie Math, where all of The Rock's years of hard work finally created the perfect box office storm. Dwayne Johnson made his very first movie all the way back in 2002 with The Scorpion King, and now, 13 years later, has landed the biggest solo opening of his career, which overperformed by about 20 million. Utilizing social media like a champ, Johnson tweeted, Instagrammed, and Facebooked the hell out of San Andreas, plus took 2 weeks off from filming Central Intelligence opposite Kevin Hart to go on a world tour to promote San Andreas, finishing up in China just in time for the film to open stateside. Indeed, overseas appeal is the final feather an actor needs in their cap to qualify as a bona fide movie star, a la Tom Cruise, Robert Downey Jr., Johnny Depp, and in his heyday, Will Smith. Over the weekend, The Rock sang Warner Brothers' praises for making the film and supporting him on his world tour, for which the studio foots the bill. And on Sunday, they returned the favor by calling him a four-quadrant, larger-than-life movie star. Four-quadrant refers to Johnson's ability to hit the four main demographics: men and women below and over 25. Impressively, The Rock was able to bring in demographics that don't seem like an obvious fit with his brand. 70% of the audience was over the age of 25, while 51% was female. Although, if Hollywood execs realized Johnson's smile is as nice as his biceps, they wouldn't be so surprised to see women turn out in force. Giving him an age-appropriate yet no less attractive leading lady in Carla Gugino was also a smart move. It will be very interesting to see where The Rock's career goes from here. Since his solo box office numbers were pretty lackluster before this weekend, he already made the decisive move to try and shore up his career with a TV series, this summer's Ballers, on the prestigious HBO, with both Johnson and Mark Wahlberg producing. Then there's Central Intelligence for next summer, and Disney already has him signed on for Moana. Lucky them, as his price would certainly have gone up after this debut. Such strong numbers for San Andreas could also encourage Universal to finally make The Rock's Fast and Furious spin-off official. Then Warner Brothers, again the studio behind San Andreas, also has the Journey franchise, where Johnson first teamed up with director Brad Peyton before San Andreas. Rumor has it the studio wants to make 2 more Journey movies, but considering the more adult appeal of San Andreas and bigger box office numbers, they might decide instead to speed up Shazam, where Johnson is set to co-star as the villainous yet ultimately redeemable Black Adam. And while Peyton has been saying he'd like to make a Superman movie, well, Shazam doesn't have a director just yet. So a lot of women this weekend went to see Dwayne Johnson, which means they didn't go and see Cameron Crowe's Aloha. But were they meant to? Bradley Cooper having to choose between Rachel McAdams and Emma Stone seems like a fantasy aimed at male viewers, especially since both actresses, particularly McAdams, have such strong male fan bases. Opening in 6th place with even less than Hot Pursuit a few weeks ago, this is yet another box office dud for Stone, who's supposed to be a rising star. While she started out of the gate strong with Zombieland, Easy A, Crazy Stupid Love, and The Help, dyeing her hair blonde seems to have, well, gone straight to her head. We've talked about actresses getting distracted by wanting to be considered hot, and you can not only see that in the change in Stone's appearance, but in her choice of roles as well. While female comedies are on fire right now, Stone is making movies that focus more on her looks than the zany personality which made her so popular in the first place with both men and women. And with Irrational Man and La La Land her only movies on the horizon, it seems she won't be learning her lesson anytime soon. Thankfully, she does have that Oscar nomination, though, but how can someone with an Oscar nomination not realize that it's totally inappropriate for her to play someone who's supposed to be half Asian in Aloha? As for the rest of the box office, San Andreas' strong debut rocked them to the core. At least Pitch Perfect 2 managed to hold on to the number 2 spot, while Tomorrowland tumbled to number 3 in only its second weekend, indicating it might not even be able to break the century mark stateside. Mad Max Fury Road also fell a little more than one would hope, another 50% in its third weekend. In comparison, the similarly ultra-expensive yet PG-13 rated World War Z fell just 38% in its third weekend, on its long march to 540 million worldwide. Globally, Mad Max is currently at a little over 280 million. Again, it would need to pass at least $400 million for a sequel to even be considered. There's also the Hail Mary of award season, not unreasonable considering stellar reviews. But let's just hope Warner Brothers is willing to sink even more money into Mad Max with a strong awards campaign. And we're continuing to see a lot of activity in the $1 billion club. Avengers Age of Ultron has surpassed Frozen and is now gaining on the final Harry Potter movie. Likewise, Furious 7 is likely to surpass The Avengers sometime this week to become the third highest grossing film of all time. I think James Wan deserves to stand alongside James Cameron on that list, don't you? And thanks to his strong relationship with Warner Brothers, don't be surprised to see him at the helm of a DC movie sooner rather than later. We likely haven't heard anything about Wan's next gig, though, outside of The Conjuring 2 for Warner Brothers, because his team is probably waiting to see if Universal exercises their option to have him direct Furious 8. As for this coming weekend, Spy is expected to tie with The Heat for the biggest opening of Melissa McCarthy's career. Yet strong buzz for the comedy could see that flick overperform as well. Spy is also expected to hurt Insidious Chapter 3, which is set to debut much lower than the last entry for the horror franchise. And while Entourage is opening on Wednesday to try and get out ahead of the competition, the earlier debut isn't expected to help much. And that's the weekend box office, breaking down Tinseltown. I'm Grace Randolph, and we just did some movie math. As always, thanks for watching, and I hope we'll go beyond the trailer for these other top movies.